Oh, let me close the curtain.
Oh, well, we already started, so Devin's going to go close his curtain. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to everybody, whether you're watching live or on demand. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Devin's Wi-Fi is playing like the Texans did yesterday. Not well.
Yeah, no. My Wi-Fi decided to take a knee on the podcast today. It does not want to participate in any ways necessary. It's going through it, but we're gonna find a way to get through this. So just hang
So
in there.
speaking of getting through and hanging in there, how'd your fantasy weekend go? How are we looking?
I'm alive. The leagues I needed to win in, I'm winning basically. Well, there's a couple I didn't need to win. I have one where if I lose, I'm still going to be the 1 seed because of just how the points are falling in my way. Biggest league I should win as long as the Patriots don't drop 50 in terms of their defense. So that'll be good. Our pod leagues are resurrected from the dead, so I can't complain about that. So
Yeah,
all is well
in
that
a
ends well.
league where we started 1-5 with McCaffrey going down, Logan Thomas going down, Julio Jones, just to name a few. We went from 1-5 to 6-6. We'll be 7-6 at the end of the day today, and we'll be in a playoff spot. So next week we actually go against Fantasy Turf Nate for basically whoever wins they're in, and I think the loser might be out. So we'll see. We'll have to at Nate and see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's spooky. It's spooky out here. I secured a buy in one of my leagues, hoping I can get one in the other in a league we're in together. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So let's get right to the recap. Let's jump on into this football weekend. Well, we'll start with Thursday. We'll start with the boys. We them boys. Here we go. We beat the Saints. That's about it. We didn't look particularly great. Everyone felt like it should have been a blown up, but I feel like that's happened a lot this year. I feel like in games where we've kind of not even just the Cowboys, just in general, when you and I or everyone all around be like, "Oh, this is going to be a blowout game," it's usually the complete opposite. It all started with the Cowboys and the Bucks. Day one of the NFL season, Bucks were supposed to blow us out, and it ended up being like a insanely good game, and slightly controversial to the whole Godwin thing, but you scratch that out, it's still a really good game in the end. We won 27-17. I think Dak hits CD on a touchdown, and CD turns the right shoulder on fourth down. Taysom Hill threw 4 picks, tore a ligament in his finger, but it looks like he's going to play through it. Dak threw for 238, a touchdown and a pick. Tony Pollard broke off a big run for a touchdown. Zeke's still playing hurt. I really thought he should have got this night off. I didn't think he was really needed in this game. The Saints offense is just one that particularly scares me per se. Kamara was out. Jameis has been out. Even if Trevor Siemian came in, I wouldn't be afraid of him. I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 of their starting tackles were out. They're just a beat-up team. They're on a bad losing streak. Yes, playing in the Metrodome, the Superdome is a tough place to play, but I think we would have been fine sitting Zeke. Taysom Hill ran for 101 yards, so there's that, but you're not going to win a game where you're going to throw 4 picks.
Yeah, it was a rough day for the Saints. I could have told you that. We could have told you that last week. I could have told you that 2 weeks ago. The Saints are down bad. They are not. They're not who we thought they would be at the start of the year. Jameis going down hurt them. Alvin Kamara being AKA AWOL for the last 6 weeks isn't very helpful to their cause. The star of their offense currently is Deontay Harris, and newsflash, he's suspended for the next 3 games due to some conduct off the field in the offseason. So not only are they down most of their weapons due to injury, they now have another weapon that's out due to a 3-game suspension. When it rains, it pours. Mark Ingram, congrats to him this season. He became the Saints' all-time leading rusher. Taysom Hill, congratulations. You got paid. Again, I don't know how this happens year after year, but you know what? Get your bag regardless. 4 picks is what I expected out of this quarterback for the Saints. 2 touchdowns, good for him. He ran for 101 yards. That is impressive, regardless of how you look at it.
had a
Taysom
hurdle.
Hill is not a starting NFL quarterback in my eyes. He is a stud fantasy football quarterback. And it'll be interesting to see how he plays through that mallet finger injury that Russell Wilson did suffer from earlier this year. Apparently, it's not as severe or significant as the Russell Wilson injury. But speaking on the Cowboys, Dak didn't have to do a whole lot this game, and you guys still won. That's big for this Cowboys offense, especially coming after the year you had last year where no Dak meant no wins. Granted, the Saints are banged up and their
Yeah.
defense really has bent almost like think of a gymnast. They're doing a back bend every week. And at some point, the spine's going to snap, and we're getting really close to that happening for the Saints. Tony Pollard is electric. I feel bad for Zeke. Everyone's coming for his head because Tony Pollard's so talented, but the RB by committee is it's growing in numbers, and you have these two-headed tandem backfields throughout the league, so it's not Zeke's fault, and he's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. It's going to be interesting to see if the Cowboys can pay Tony Pollard. Having CD Lamb back along with Amari Cooper is huge for this offense. They were healthier, they're the better team, and they won the game. There's not much more to it.
Yeah, it's really nice that Dak didn't have to do a whole lot. It wasn't great for my fantasy team, but overall, when Dak doesn't have to do a whole lot, Zeke doesn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, you look at these running backs who are basically falling apart. CMC's 25 years old and he can't stay healthy the past 2 years because he was ran into the ground. He didn't have a number two guy to take some of these touches away. Todd Gurley, just to name like two solid guys who were the best running backs in football at one point in their life, and just like that, they're gone. Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Look at the Ravens backfield. Look at who else is there? There's a lot of two-headed giants out there that are working for teams, and your running backs don't get the crap beat out of them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So really good for the Cowboys to get on track, I guess. A win is a win. We needed it. The Eagles fell off our back a little bit with the Giants' loss. Washington starting to catch up. But a win here put us at 8-4. Yeah, 8-4. Feeling pretty good. Feeling like we're going to win 10 or 11 games, and that'll be enough for the division. We'll take on a red-hot Washington football team, but I'm not really we're having 10 days off after playing 3 games in 12 days. The rest is going to be really nice. I think we're going to come out and play Washington really well. As far as the Saints go, they get the Jets next week, but their season's just kind of over. There's not really much they can do. They've had too many injuries. They lost that big play factor with Jameis Winston. And I really would like to see Jameis back there next year.
I completely agree. I think the Saints have no choice but to bring back Jameis Winston. And I think the big thing for the Cowboys is they got a week off. Not from playing football, not from losing, but from Mikey McChickens himself. Dan Quinn was electric on the sidelines. Every defensive play, that dude looked like he was ready to just be like, name me the head coach. I'm ready. Let's go. So I don't know if that's a compliment to McCarthy for assembling this ragtag bunch of coordinators. No offense to Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is a stud. I love Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator. He's going to be a coach someday.
Ben
soon.
McAdoo. I can't forget about
Oh, Ben McAdoo. But yeah, no, it was cool seeing Dan Quinn actually care about football in a way that's not just, looking into his clipboard and not being animated. But
being frustrated and blowing leads.
Yeah, but speaking of being frustrated and blowing leads, the Colts didn't do it this week. The Colts beat the Texans 31-0, Austin. For once, there's no funny business in Indianapolis.
Davis Mills threw for 49 yards and Tyrod Taylor threw for 45 yards. Jonathan Taylor rushed for 143. This game wasn't close. It was never going to be close. What is there to say? What the Texans are in a shithole for the next 5 years. There's nowhere for them to go. They're at the bottom. They can't get. I mean, they could go 0-17. It could get worse. I don't think it's going to, but it's not going to get better anytime soon. There's a light somewhere at the end of this tunnel, but the problem is the tunnel's really fucking long, and I mean really long.
So you're telling me this team won 2 games this year? That's what we're saying.
They have indeed won in 2 games. They have beaten the Titans, and they have beaten another team, another NFL football team that I
The
don't
fact
remember
that
who they beat.
Houston is fielding this team week in and week out is a travesty to modern American football.
Bill O'Brien's fault.
Royce Freeman and Jalen Samuels had 5 carries. David Johnson, the guy that they traded DeAndre Hopkins for, didn't have a single carry in this game. Like, I understand you don't want to win games. You want to like get a good draft pick.
Right,
pardon
but
my
Rex
French.
Burkhead had 8 carries, so that makes
he
it
averaged
better.
3.8 yards per carry. Brandon Cooks had a carry for 16 yards. Why don't they just turn him into the running back? I know he's not Deebo Samuel, but I'm just throwing shit at the wall. He could be, yeah. The Texans suck. The Texans are a dumpster fire. The Colts, again, they are a good team. Really sucked this front half of the year, and it's going to probably cost them down the line. Jonathan Taylor is transcendent. This guy is going to be the lead back for the Colts for the next 10 years if he stays healthy. Well, 10 years is a long time for a modern NFL back, but
yeah,
you
2
get
years
the
is a long
message.
time for a modern NFL running back.
You get the message. This team is loaded with talent on the offensive end, and their defense is stellar. They won a game they should have won, so there's not much more to it. Congrats to Carson Wentz, and congrats to the Eagles, because I think their pick's going to get better as the Colts continue to try and make the playoffs.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Did you pick the Lions this week? I have the chart right here. Did you? Let's see. We're going to look, everyone. Together, we're going to look.
I am pretty sure I picked the Vikings.
Yeah.
Like
so
95% sure.
Devin can no longer now pick the Lions because he missed his chance.
You know what? I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to say it one more time for everybody else in the world. Shout out Dan Campbell. I don't know if he cried after the game, but if he did, let that man live. Jared Goff, shades of 2018. The dude threw for 3 scores. Jamal Williams, in absence of DeAndre Swift, did enough. Jamar Jefferson got some carries. I miss DeAndre Swift. The world does as well. Please come back. Hugh win, Gary come home. Like, DeAndre Swift technically is the heartbeat of this team, but apparently not. Amon-Ra St. Brown kicked in the door this week in terms of his usage. He finally got double-digit receptions. He had like 12 targets. If Goff can start throwing to his skilled guys outside, they might push it and win a couple more games. This team is bad, but they're not that bad. But speaking of being that bad,
Mike Zimmer.
Fire Mike Zimmer.
There you go.
If I've said it once, I've said it 10 times, fire him. I don't know what's keeping them so enamored with Mike Zimmer, but it's ran the course. You can only run into the same wall so many times before you just say something has to change. Like, even the Panthers fired their offensive coordinator. Didn't realize he traded first-round picks or third-round picks for Sam Darnold, but that's just me. Kirk had a good game. Justin Jefferson was 0 for 1 passing, so, wash. No, I'm kidding. Jefferson's amazing. The dude had an insane game. Thielen went down.
High in receptions and yards, with Thielen going down after getting 1 reception for 0 yards. That was it. That was all you really needed. He had 11 receptions for 182 yards. Didn't get he did get a touchdown. I'm crazy. Something I want to kind of go over in this game is that, like, look, even me at the podcast, have given Kirk Cousins a lot of shit. There is nothing else Kirk Cousins can do at this point to succeed with this team. This man threw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. If you're calling Aaron Rodgers the MVP, Kirk Cousins has better stats than Aaron Rodgers all around. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is currently your MVP, but I'm saying that Kirk Cousins is balling out this year, and there's not a damn thing he can do about this 5-7 record. I saw something on Twitter earlier today that said teams that have scored like 27 points in 17 games, over the course of like 2 years or something. And there was 3 teams. There was the Bucks, who went 16-1 in those 17 games, the Bills, who went 15-2 in those 17 games, and the Vikings, who went 8-9.
Like, as cliche as this is to say, like,
this is Tony Romo all over again. Because I dealt with this shit. I dealt with Tony Romo isn't a clutch quarterback. No, Tony Romo's not putting up 35 points a game, and neither is any other quarterback. Like, you just can't. He had the game won. The Lions had to drive down with no time remaining and throw a 4th and 2 touchdown. Like, I believe it was 15, 16 yards. something like that. Like, it was a decently far touchdown. I don't know
Yeah.
how Khalif Raymond catches that ball, because mainly because it was right to him, but how are there no Vikings defensemen in front of him? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what? And you have a defensive-minded head coach? Like, what? I don't get it.
My big thing with the Vikings right now is the Chargers last year lost more games by one score than like any team in the NFL. Anthony Lynn came to the NFC North. The Vikings probably heard that, and they said, you know what? If we're not going to be the best in our division at winning, we're going to be the best in a different way, losing games that we should win, because that they are the Chargers of last year, this year. Like, LA hasn't really had too many games where I sit here and I go, damn, we really screwed. We really screwed up, or, we could have won this game, but we messed it up. The Vikings just can't win. Like, it's just mind boggling the way that they find ways to lose games week in and week out. It's just bad luck, or just, I can't tell you what exactly it is, but it's not good. It's not going to get better. There's got to be a better option than Mike Zimmer out there. And it's not his fault. I'm not saying Mike Zimmer's the worst coach in the world, but there's got to be something better for this team moving forward, because they can't really get rid of Kirk. All of his money's guaranteed. Thielen,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
mean,
how
he
much he's
got a
going
lot
to
of
command.
money, and he got a lot of shit for it at the time. But the guy's played well this season. The guy's put his team in positions to win. You can name a few games where it's like, oh man, Kirk sucked. Like, they should have beaten the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. They should have been able to beat Cooper Rush, and they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know every single Vikings game this season. I'm not a Vikings fan, but like, I literally saw all today that, Kirk Cousins this, Kirk Cousins that, and it's true. Like, the guy has really balled out this season. Like, I'm a Jefferson owner, so obviously I want Kirk to, stop missing like Jefferson when he's wide open sometimes. But the Vikings, they lost to the Niners, right? And let's see, they put 26 points in that game. Like, that should be enough to win a football game most Sundays. But his defense gave up 34. And he threw for 238, 2 touchdowns. So not as good as a game, as against the Lions, but you put up 27 points against the Lions, you throw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, you don't turn the ball over, you should be winning this football game. There was no reason for the Vikings to lose that game.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's just, when it rains, it pours. And sadly, in Minnesota, rain turns into snow this time of the year. And they're just caught in this perpetual snowball effect, because it's just not getting better. It's just not.
Yeah, we were a little bit high on the Vikings coming into this year. I thought they could really be a team that can contend. And with the way that the conferences are this year, they're still technically a playoff team, but they probably have to win out from here to at least stay at the playoffs. So they probably got to win their last 5, or their last 5, because they're 5-7 now.
Well, they need stuff to break their way, but I don't see it happening. But speaking of breaking their way, I didn't watch any of this game.
Way literally ever.
I didn't watch any of this game, but I could still tell you the Giants were going to lose. Mike Glennon started an NFL football game. I don't know if that's something I'm happy to say or something I'm just really confused about. Daniel Jones is out with a neck injury. Mike Glennon has one of the most famous necks in NFL history. Saquon had a good day, only 11 carries. Don't understand that. Evan Ingram caught some passes. That's news to me. Good for him.
Don't
I'm sure his hands
that.
are thankful. Kenny Golladay, 3 receptions. You're paying him what, like $15 million a year to catch 3 balls a week? It's a lot of money. This team is lost. This team is, I wouldn't call them bad, but they're not good. They're lost. They need a change, whether it be firing Gettleman, firing the head coach, changing quarterbacks. I don't know what it is. They had no shot to win this game. Miami's defense has been on fire as of late, and people have been giving this dude shit since he was drafted, but Tua Tagovailoa has been balling out as of late. 30 for 41, 244 yards and 2 scores. No picks. What else do you want from the guy? He has been playing excellent football, and the team has been winning because of it. They're 6-7 now. They really had a bad stretch to start the year after he got knocked out in the Bills game, and they were starting Jacoby Brissett for however many weeks that went on. But since he's been back, he has been a very usable NFL quarterback. I'd even say above average. Miles
Yeah, they've
Gaskin.
won 5 in a row. They're 6-7. They're sniffing the playoffs. Their defense is playing very, very well. I don't. There's always going to be a sword over the neck of Tua. He's always going to have to deal with this because next season in the offseason you have like Russ Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson. You have these 3, top tier quarterbacks who could go literally anywhere next season or even stay right where they are. But because there's so much speculation on where they could go, it's easily like, well, let's replace Tua. But why? The guy's done enough for you to win football games. He doesn't really turn the ball over. He's kind of in the same area that like we've talked about Mac Jones and Teddy Bridgewater all season. Yeah, Teddy had a few turnovers last night against the Chiefs, but usually Teddy doesn't turn the ball over. Tua is very conservative with the ball. He has the playmakers. And that's the thing. You want to talk about like, oh, he can only throw like 2-yard pass. Well, if I had Jalen Waddle, I'd catch him on a slant too. But I know he's going to break it for 80 yards. Like, you just take what's given to you. If he's right there open in a slant or right there, on an out route, you take it. You do what you do to win football games. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm getting fired up today, man. All these quarterbacks. Let's talk about 2 quarterbacks who aren't going anywhere. Well, Matt Ryan might go somewhere, but we don't know where.
The retirement home? Who knows? He's looking old. He's looking real old.
Bucks beat the Falcons. Falcons didn't score any points in the second half.
That's kind of their
pick 6.
That's the status quo whenever Matt Ryan faces Brady not scoring in the second half or fourth quarter. He's used to it at this point.
Brady's 10-0 against the Falcons in his career, but Brady continues to ball. This dude might actually win MVP. I'm not gonna lie. Threw for 368, 4 touchdowns, and a pick that honestly that was one of the weirdest pick sixes I've ever seen in my life. Did you see it?
No, I did not see it. I heard about it.
It was like 20 seconds left in the second quarter, going to half. I'm pretty sure the Bucks got the ball after the half. And he kind of just tried to check down to Leonard Fournette, and then I can't remember the name of the guy who picked it off. They probably don't have. Oh, Marlon Davidson. Marlon Davidson kind of just jumped in front of Fournette, said, "Hey, thanks," and he had to walk 6 yards for a touchdown because they were deep in their zone. It was literally like, "Oh, I'll check it down to Lenny," and Marlon's like, "All right, touchdown." I was like, "What just happened?"
That shouldn't have happened. There's a glitch in the simulation.
We playing Madden? What's going on here? Yeah. But yeah, and not a whole lot going on in this game. They keep talking about the Falcons being like, oh, well, they're in the playoff hunt. Like, well, yeah, everyone's in the playoff hunt right now. The Texans, out of 32 football teams in week 13, are the only team to be eliminated at this point.
Yep.
Everything's close. Everything's close.
Anything can happen at this point. The teams are very, very close in that middle ground because you have your top teams leading divisions. But after that, you're looking at 1 to 3 games separating the rest of everybody for these wild card spots. It's really tight in the contested middle ground of the AFC and NFC.
Well, when they do like the in the hunt spot, and it's like just like teams at 5 and 7, teams at 5 and 7, and you're like, oh, so anybody can go at this point, right? That's how this works.
I'm going to the playoffs.
Where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
The Falcons make me angry. Matt Ryan doesn't throw for a single touchdown. The only touchdown scored on offense for them was Mike Davis. I thought that dude got cut 4 weeks ago. I'm kidding. I didn't think he got cut. But it's just more of the same uninspiring football from the Falcons. Their defense sucks. Their offense doesn't score. Only a bright spot for them is Koo kicking field goals. Like, that's it. I just don't get it. He scored 1 touchdown. He had just 1 touchdown, the pick 6, and then Koo got the extra point, and then a field goal. You got to be better than that. If your offense can't put up more than 1 score a week, you're not going to win NFL football games. So that's about all I have for the Falcons. They are just disappointing and depressing.
You know what else is disappointing and depressing? The fact that everyone thinks Gardner Minshew now is the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
PSA to anybody that thinks Gardner Minshew should be the starter moving forward. There's a reason why
Stop.
T-Law got drafted in Jacksonville. There's a reason why they traded like a third-round pick to acquire Gardner Minshew. There's a reason why he's going to be suited up for the Steelers come next year. Gardner Minshew is going to be, I saw it on Twitter, somebody mentioned he's going to be like the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think that's about what he's going to be. Gardner Minshew is talented, yes. He is a solid quarterback. He came from a smaller school. He got a shot because the Jaguars have been one of the worst franchises in the NFL's history. They've had 10 seasons out of the last 10 seasons, 9 of them they've had 10 or more losses. Only outlier was the year whenever Jalen Ramsey and that defense drug Blake Bortles to an AFC championship. That's it.
Almost beat Brady.
Almost beat Brady. Shout out Miles Jack. Like, the Jags suck, and now they got Lawrence. But to sit here and say I would take Gardner Minshew over a guy in Jalen Hurts, who I looked up the stats. In college, the dude threw for almost 10,000 yards, over like 60 touchdowns. He's got a winning pedigree. He's been a champion at almost every level of football, and he can run the damn ball. Get some pieces around Hurts before you start trying to bring in Mustachio, whatever you want to call him, Top Gun, whatever his nickname is, mullet guy, Billy Ray throws a lot. I don't care.
Billy Ray throws.
I'm just saying, Gardner Minshew is a backup quarterback that will fill in whenever teams don't have a starter. But Jalen Hurts is an NFL starter until proven otherwise. If it was, say, Gardner Minshew or Daniel Jones, that's a discussion. But Jalen Hurts is far more talented than Gardner Minshew. And let's not act like they went out there and beat the Bucks, or they went out there and they beat the Cards. They kicked the shit out of a team in the Jets that's been a dumpster fire since week 5. Like Mike White ain't walking through that door. Chad Pennington ain't walking through that door. Bart Scott is still waiting at the door because he ain't coming out of it. The Jets aren't good.
McCown.
You name it, they're not coming. The Jets are not a good team. They have solid bones, but until they can actually develop their young core and get some help on the offensive line and kind of cultivate their weapons, they're going to be winning 3 to 6 games per year. And Philadelphia, while they are flawed, are a much better team construction-wise than the Jets. So congrats, Gardner. You had a good week. Hopefully you get traded in the offseason and get a job somewhere. Because it's not going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Being an NFL caliber quarterback and beating any sort of team whatsoever is a difficult task. I'm not going to tell you I can pick 12 guys off the street and beat the Jets because that's just not true. The Jets beat the Titans. The Jets beat a couple of other teams. The Jets can still win games any given Sunday. It's just as simple as that. I mean, Zach Wilson had 3 touchdowns, threw for 2, ran for 1. The dude had a decently good game. He threw for 226. He only threw a pick. I really liked that game out of Zach Wilson. I thought it was really good, but his defense gave up 33. His kicker missed both PATs, and they didn't get the 2-point conversion. So Zach Wilson played pretty well against a defense, that's stepped up in, the past couple of weeks and played really well. So I really actually like what I saw from the Jets here, but I just didn't expect them to beat the Eagles, especially when you throw Gardner Minshew in there. And he's more, I would say at the current moment in time, he's a better thrower than Jalen Hurts, at least in what we've seen. Jalen Hurts still is reading the field a little bit, underthrowing a little bit here and there. But he's a much better runner than Minshew is. He throws better on the run. Minshew just basically picked on Goddard all day, and Goddard had 2 touchdowns, 105 yards, 6 receptions. Like, Goddard had a day. We kind of expected either Goddard or Smith or even both of them to have a really good day, and it was Dallas Goedert in the end. Miles Sanders, 120 yards. There you go.
Free Miles Sanders. Oh my God. I have been championing this dude for years. He tweaked his ankle. Hopefully he doesn't miss an extended period of time. Luckily, they have a bye week coming up next week. But you see what happens, Nick, whenever you give your talented playmaker the ball. Miles Sanders is a breath of fresh air. I love this dude. He's so good at just giving the ball. He's going to produce positive outcomes while he's healthy. For the Jets, bring back Michael Carter ASAP. I miss him. Michael, come home, please. I know you're hurt, but looking at their rap sheet of runners from this week, Ty Johnson had 1 carry. This dude was legit like a fantasy like messiah 2-3 weeks ago. Like he was getting like 12 targets a game or something. Tevin Coleman shouldn't be starting for any NFL franchise at running back right now because there's a shelf life for like 5 years for the elite dudes. This guy was elite for 2 years behind Devonta Freeman. Yeah, that's the guy that played for the Falcons.
Think so?
Yeah. Yeah, Devonta Freeman. He was sitting behind him. So it's like, I don't know. I don't get it. Just please give the keys to Michael Carter. I'm not asking much. Elijah Moore is continuing to break out. Congratulations to him. He's the most talented receiver they have. Free Corey Davis. My guy can't stay healthy. Breaks my heart. But on to the next one, I guess, because this game, it was what it was.
Yeah, the poor guy's going to get surgery on his groin, so he'll be out for the year. But if he's back with the Jets next season, paired with Elijah Moore, Zach Wilson has a year under his belt, he could do well. We'll see.
Speaking of doing well, my prediction of DeAndre Hopkins
Kyler's back.
I told you, man. I said DeAndre Hopkins is going to score a touchdown this week. If he's back on the field, he's scoring a touchdown. And it took about 2 minutes into the game, and I was right. The fact that no Cardinals pass catcher had more than 2 receptions kind of bummed me out a bit. The fact that Kyler only threw 15 times is indicative of how bad the Chicago Bears are. This game was never in danger. The Cardinals just kind of walked in, stepped on their throats, and said, "Hey, fire Matt Nagy while you're at it." Andy Dalton is not that dude. David Montgomery, welcome back, buddy. 21 carries, 90 yards, and a score.
Added 8 receptions for 51 yards. I love seeing David Montgomery do well.
Yeah, I hate the fact that Darnell Mooney finally cooled off. I added him in a Yahoo league, and it shouldn't matter. I think I'm still going to win that matchup, but it's just tough. They are the Bears are 4-8. Khalil Mack's out for the year. Matt Nagy's still employed. I don't know what Bears fans have to look forward to. Shout out David Montgomery because he's the only person that I think I can actually compliment on their performance this Sunday. James Conner.
At this point, I feel like at the end of the season, it'll be Zimmer and Nagy gone. I feel like it has to be at this point. I feel like when you're at week 14, what's the point at this point? Just let them run their course. I never really stood firing guys in the middle of the season unless you really need to make that change now. If you thought you could turn around and, maybe it almost makes sense for the Vikings if they felt like, they can make the playoffs and they could turn around right now. But if they don't have a solid option they think they can put there, Mike Zimmer technically has won games this season. So fuck it, I guess. But that loss to the Lions is huge for them. At least Matt Nagy has that over Mike Zimmer. He beat the Lions.
He also beat COVID, so 2-0 for Nagy at this point. It's just
there you go.
Maybe they could like orchestrate a trade.
Nagy.
No, dude, hear me out. Vikings and the Bears, 2-team deal. I give you Matt Nagy and 3 deep dish pizzas for Mike Zimmer and 4 Golden Gophers. Who says no? Who says no?
It's on the pizza.
It's deep dish. It's Chicago. I can't even do the accent. Sorry if I offended any viewers, but this is bad. Get rid of them both. I'd rather see, I don't know, Brett Favre coach the Vikings at this point. Hell, call Phillip Rivers. He'll coach the Bears. Might not be pretty, but it'll be better than watching Matt Nagy chew on whatever the hell he's chewing on.
We'll do it. Clipboard. We're down.
Well, yeah, we'll do it. Halfback dive, PA end around, PA crossers. I know my way around a playbook. Don't ask me what my scheme is. I'm just trying to win.
Fighter 2 live banana.
Speaking of just trying to win, Trevor Lawrence is fighting. Oh, no, never mind. Speaking of just trying to win.
You skipped your own team.
I almost did. Pardon me. Speaking of just trying to win, the Chargers really try to not win a lot of the time, but thank God for that fumble recovery, pick 6, whatever it was, the Chargers defense capitalized. This could be the matchup that we look at for the next decade of saying who's the best quarterback in the league in terms of the whole Brady Manning debate.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be the case, but it's in the works. These 2 dudes were drafted in the same draft, 3 picks apart, or no, 5 picks apart. Burrow had a decent day. He had 2 picks. One of them is all on Jamar Chase. I guess they didn't paint the stripes on the ball this week, so we couldn't see it well, so we dropped it. That's bad. Mixon was contained, which is really nice to see after we contained Najee Harris last week. Fun fact, the Chargers now are no longer sporting the NFL's worst rushing defense. We're still bad, but we're not the worst. We're probably second worst now, but we're not first. Let's go.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like you go from Rams defensive coordinator to worst rush defense in the league, and I get that might be like a player issue, it's just like execution problem. That's still a little crazy to me. Their pass defense is great though, so.
He went from Aaron Donald to Jerry Tillery. I'm not going to blame Brandon Staley for our defenses and capability to stop the run. Jerry Tillery's been great, and we have some good pieces, but it's not the same output because Aaron Donald, the gravity he commands, that dude changes a game plan just by existing. Austin Eckler couldn't hold on to a football. He scored a touchdown, so that made up for it. But man, he's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. Justin Herbert, again, electric. Threw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's leading the league in 300-yard passing games with at least 2 scores at 7. That's pretty darn good. Mike Williams, welcome back, buddy. 5 for 110. Jalen Guyton with a touchdown. I'll take it. Keenan Allen, he's on the COVID list now. He had 2 scores. This is what I like to see from the Chargers. Our defense is not going to hold teams below 20 points most weeks, so the offense has to get into like the 25s and 30s. But the defense did enough. The Bengals really came out flat. I wasn't surprised. I said last week I am picking the Bengals because if the Bengals win, I lose nothing for the pod. If the Chargers win, I gain everything because you picked the Bengals as well. I'm not losing ground, and I needed them to show it to me. The Chargers have been on a down spin for the last 2-3 weeks, and we stabilized. We were able to walk in there, punch them in the mouth, and it got ugly in the middle, yes. But they figured it out, and then we closed out that fourth quarter dominantly. We shut them out in the fourth, and we dropped 17 points for ourselves. So going into this back stretch of the season, I'm looking forward to see how they finish out because they should be a dangerous wildcard team moving forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. Give the ball to Austin Eckler. Yeah.
I also have one more point on the Chargers. I know a couple weeks back you're talking about Justin brought up, what do I see happening with Mike Williams? We're going to tag him until we can't tag him anymore. You're not going to find wide receiver. You're not going to find a wide receiver 2 of his talents. It's going to be real hard because he's going to command a lot of money, but we franchise tagged Hunter Henry for a year. I'm totally fine using the tag on Mike Williams until we can't. It sucks for him. I hope he gets paid, and I hope we can pay him. But until that bridge is crossed, we got to keep him until we can figure out who that third guy is. Because I don't trust Josh Palmer yet. I don't trust Guyton fully. We need to figure out. We need to get a guy in the draft this year. I'd like to spend a top 3 pick, like first through third round, on a speedster type dude that we can just slot in alongside Mike and Keenan. Because I think that would fully unlock.
Whoever has the Tyreek Hill comparison, pick that guy.
Nah, probably not. That doesn't always pan out.
T. Higgins, though, continues the ball. 9 receptions, $138 and a touchdown. Joe Mixon scores a touchdown for his 8th straight game.
Hurt his neck. He did injure his neck during the game. Hopefully he doesn't miss time. Shout out Joe Mixon for my fantasy team. Shout out T. Higgins.
Rams beat the Jags.
I wouldn't say they beat them. I'd say they brought them behind the proverbial woodshed and beat the ever-living crap out of them. Granted, I don't fault the Jags. There's some pretty poppin' Chili's and Applebee's in the area of LA. So I think Urban was his mind was kind of sailing on him a little bit. Can we just talk about how Urban Meyer kind of yanked the rug out from James Robinson in this game after he fumbled just to give Carlos Hyde 9 carries, watch him fumble and score a touchdown?
It just happened again. Robinson fumbles, that's it. But what do you want the man to do? He's being tackled by Aaron Donald. That's just not fair. And he's been questionable for a month. So obviously he's beat up a little bit. I would fumble too if Aaron Donald looks at me, I'll probably fumble the ball. What do you expect? you can't. I mean, I get it. They drafted ETN, so they're probably they already feel like they're on their way out with James Robinson because it'll be probably ETN over Robinson most of the time. And if it's Carlos Hyde over Robinson now, it's going to be ETN over Robinson. So they're getting started early. I guess I don't know. I don't understand.
You know,
Sony Michel ran for 121 yards. What fucking year is it?
hey, Sony Michel is not a terrible running back. Coming from a guy that had him rostered his rookie year, shout out Sony. He helped lead me to a chip, but he's talented. He obviously during the draft process was evaluated at a higher clip than Nick Chubb. There was a reason for that. He kind of got the short end of the stick out there in New England. Like Damian Harris came in, they're like, oh, okay, Sony, no thanks. Like New England's offense doesn't really lend much to the explosiveness of certain players, especially running backs. You're running a zone read or you're running like a dive. You're pushing the ball. You're not there to break out in an offense. Shout out Sean McVay for being kind of an asshole. Before the game, the Rams were like, yeah, Darrell Henderson's active. Yeah, for sure. Anybody that started him, I'm so sorry. I was lucky enough to pick up Sony Michel in some leagues, and especially one that I had Henderson. I was asking Austin, like, what do I do? Luckily, I started Sony Michel. He balled out. Fun fact, the Jags leading receiver was Laquan Treadwell. I don't know if I'm in a time machine. Maybe Urban Meyer thinks it's 2014. Laviska Shenault should have more targets than what he had. It's just a gross mismanagement of the assets and pieces that the Jaguars have. And I know it's early, but free Trevor Lawrence? Question mark. I don't know. If Urban Meyer's the head coach next year, I don't understand football, and I'll just admit it because I don't see any upside to keeping him. I don't see any. There's no greener grass with Urban Meyer being an NFL head coach, in my opinion. I haven't seen a single thing this year besides maybe the kick six by Jamal Agnew against the Cardinals, where I was like, damn, the Jags seem kind of fun. It just seems really, really sad.
Did you know CJ Beathard had a carry?
Good for him, man. I hope he's doing well.
That's the Jags franchise in a nutshell.
He averaged almost the same yards per carry as Carlos Hyde. I'm surprised Meyer didn't throw him in for some carries. Like, what's going on? Like,
Laviska Shenault had 3 carries for a yard. Oh boy. Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions, 129 yards, a touchdown. Matt Stafford, 295, 3 touchdowns. Exactly what you would have expected. The Rams absolutely annihilating the Jags. They needed to get this win. They needed to get back right. They have to go to Arizona next week. They had to win this game. They had to make it not look close. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Moving on. The Washington football team. Oh, man. Washington football team's on fire. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders 17-15. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the refs are against the Raiders or the refs are against this, the refs are against that. Kenyon Drake's out for the season because his ankle got rolled up on. Logan Thomas is probably done for the season because Yannick Ngakoue blasted him in the knee. But outside of those 2 injuries, there's always penalties that you can go back to and say it was a bad call, this and that. Taylor Heineke threw 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Probably should have been 2 picks. Trayvon Moore dropped a huge interception that would have probably ended the game for Las Vegas. Terry McLaurin, 3 receptions for 22 yards. Thanks. Antonio Gibson, I was high on this dude his rookie year. I loved him last year. I still love him this year. 23 carries, 88 yards. Derek Carr throws for 249 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Josh Jacobs runs in for a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow, 9 catches for 102 yards. Somebody on Twitter pointed out that this might not be so much as a problem with Derek Carr not reading the field as is the Raiders are being too conservative. Like they're in an area where that you have they pointed out like Deshaun Jackson running like a cross route and he was wide open. They got exactly what they wanted. The safety pulled out, went up, the cornerback went down to cover Josh Jacobs and he threw it to Josh Jacobs. And he had all the time in the world to look up at Deshaun Jackson and probably hit him. I don't know if this is a scheme thing. I don't know if, Derek Carr is told to check this down, but there's a lot of plays that the Raiders are really not taking risks this year. And I kind of saw that in the Cowboys too, that they're throwing, behind the line of scrimmage a lot, or at the line of scrimmage. Nobody's getting to the first down marker and then, turning for a catch. These weird conservative offenses are just not working. It's super frustrating to me when I'm watching Cowboys games and it's a quick 3-and-out because we, incomplete pass, run, throw a screen, get 2 yards, and it's 3-and-out. It's like, what? Like, let's take a shot here. Do something. You can't consistently go 3-and-out and expect to win games. The Washington football fans are chanting, "We want Dallas." You got it. We'll see you next Sunday. You're hot, but you're about to face the number one offense in the league.
I don't see Washington beating the Cowboys at all. I didn't see Washington beating the Raiders, and honestly, they almost didn't. The Raiders are a tough team to prognosticate about. They're a tough team to predict anything about them. They've had a season from hell, to put it lightly. Derek Carr did not. He had a Derek Carr day, actually. He threw for a lot of yards. Derek Carr reminds me of Matt Ryan in this prime. I think Carr's a bit more talented than, that's a bit of a stretch. Carr is an above average quarterback, and Carr has limited resources right now. Hunter Renfrow and him are like best friends. It's like if so say you go to Costco and you're looking for like Lucky Charms, and you have Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford on the box. You look at the Kirkland brand, it's going to be a Hunter Renfrow and Derek Carr on the box. This team just couldn't find the end zone, essentially. They scored one touchdown through Josh Jacobs on the ground. Carr didn't throw a single touchdown. And Daniel Carlson, once again, was, the lifeblood of this team. And whenever you're playing a football game and you expect your kicker to win you the game, odds are the other team's kicker is going to win that game because Oakland just didn't have enough juice. Kenyon Drake going down is huge. I think Kenyon Drake he's a valuable piece to this Raiders offense. Josh Jacobs is good, but Josh Jacobs has never been relatively healthy for his career. It's been 2 years now, and he missed a chunk of time this year. They are banged up. They are down guys. They've had to cut dudes due to off the field conditions. There's been tons of things going on with the Raiders, and it's adding up over time. The fact that they're 6-6 right now is, I commend Derek Carr, and the coach is still there, and so they're leaders in the locker room, but it's going to get worse. Taylor Heineke, shout out to him. He's playing well. Interesting to see whenever Fitzpatrick's healthy. They're probably not going to even sniff Fitzpatrick rest of season. Antonio Gibson is playing like he should have been all year. Granted, he's been hurt, so I don't know how hurt he still is. Interesting to see that they also gave Gibson 5 receptions this game, especially after McKissick went down last week. That was the big question mark for Washington, figuring out how they were going to utilize Antonio Gibson moving forward. Worst thing for me is Logan Thomas going down. It was a completely unnecessary play. A guy kind of goes out of his way to lunge into Thomas's legs, and now he has a torn ACL and MCL. So get healthy and get better.
Possibly. I guess they got better news about it today, so they're not too sure yet.
It just really sucks. As somebody that's rostered Thomas this year, he really came back and he was making an instant impact on this offense. They will, as they always do. This team is resilient as hell. They will persevere and they will overcome. I just don't think, with all of these losses piling up, they have any shot against Dallas next week. Chase Young's out. Thomas will be out. McKissick's out. You name it, they're missing it. I don't think we've seen Curtis Samuel in any full capacity this year. I don't think we're going to see it next week. It's just there's a lot of stuff going against them. And until they can get right and get healthy, Ron Rivera is a good coach and their team is really, really tough. But it takes more than toughness. And this Dallas offense is one of the toughest teams to cover, point blank. No pun intended. Okay, slight pun intended, but I digress. On to the next one.
Steelers beat the Ravens 20-19.
I just want to scream into the mic. I'm not going to do it for the sake of everyone's ears, but I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hate them. They suck, but they win. Big Ben, throwback performance, 236 for 2 scores. Deontay Johnson put the team on his back, though. Like, what's going on? Najee
Here's
Harris
the
is going
thing,
to.
right? Up into the fourth quarter, Ben wasn't doing a whole lot. He was not getting a lot done, but neither were the Ravens. The Ravens weren't capitalizing. Lamar threw another pick, and they run the ball a lot, so the game kind of goes quicker than normal. I couldn't even tell you that Lamar threw it 37 times. See, I watched most of that game. It didn't even seem like it. Seems like they ran the ball, a lot. Let's see. They had 8, 22, 24. They only had 25 carries. It seemed like they had like 90. That's what it felt like. Let's get to the meat of this game. Let's get to the thing that matters the most. John Harbaugh chose to go for 2. And I don't know if Mark Andrews stopped. I don't know if Mark Andrews dropped it. I don't know if Lamar threw it too far for him. But the fact is that they missed the 2-point conversion and they lost because of it. We live in a results-based world, and it is easy to. Everyone would have loved John Harbaugh if he would have got it. We all loved John Gruden when he went for 2 against the Saints so long ago, in like the first week of the season, like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know if you remember that game, but
I was a wee
John.
lad. I don't remember it. I blacked out.
But yeah, your defense had played well up until the point where they gave up the lead in the fourth quarter. Personally, I would have liked to tie it. You have Justin Tucker. You're not going to miss the PAT. 99 times out of 100, you're not going to miss the PAT with Justin Tucker. You're going to tie this game. There was not very much time on the clock. You were not going to get scored on in the fourth quarter. You get to call the coin toss because you're the away team. So, yeah, it's a 50-50 shot, but tails never fail. So, obviously, you have to use that in the NFL.
So, my biggest thing about this matchup in this game, I'm not going to fault John Harbaugh for going for it. This is a coach that has always kind of.
I only have a problem. It looks like Devin froze. Other way. Devin froze, so he's having technical issues. It's okay. So I'll carry the stream for a few minutes while Devin comes on back. The main reason why I don't like the Ravens going for it is because they were an 8-3 team. They had a lot to lose here. Felt like they should have tied it and gave them another shot. So when Devin comes back, we'll give him his chance to talk about the Ravens. So we'll move on to the Seahawks and the Niners while Devin sits there frozen. The Seahawks beat the Niners 30-20. Oh, there he is.
I'm back. Back and better than ever. So,
all right. So I told the crew that I didn't like them going for 2 because the Ravens had a lot to lose. They were an 8-3 team. They're not like this team that had a lot to gain if they were to win. They needed to stay in the first seed, in my opinion, and tie it. So I moved on to the games, but go ahead and give your take on the 2-pointer.
My biggest thing with the Ravens going for 2 to win the game, this is a team that has towed the line of wins and losses better than any team in the NFL. And at some point, overtime luck eventually runs out. There's a regression to the mean that is eventually going to happen with any team. The Ravens have played for the tie all year. And yes, it has worked out on numerous occasions. That you look to week 1, or was it week 1? Whenever the Raiders played
against the Raiders, yeah,
and they played it safe. They went for 1. They ended up losing in overtime. This is a game they can afford to lose. I don't think the Steelers making up a game against the Ravens is a huge travesty. They didn't have to win this week. The teams that are in their division that are posing a threat in Cincinnati lost. They still have a 1-game lead on the division, and I have faith they can beat the Browns. They can beat anybody else in their division. It's a weird game. It's been a really weird week in terms of weather and just how shitty the conditions are for these teams. I respect Harbaugh for going for 2. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is one of the biggest or the best playmakers in football. Maybe not with his arm all the time, but you at a certain point, you trust your superstars to make things happen. And I'm not going to fault the Ravens for dropping a game to a team that's not going to make the playoffs and probably won't really I just don't see the fault in it. They had more to gain going for it than they were posing to lose and missing it.
I just felt like they had the number 1 seed, and I
Yeah,
felt like they could have beat the Steelers. I
it's a
believe that the
dumb way to
Ravens
lose
are
the
the
one
better
seed.
team.
Yeah, it's a dumb way to lose the 1 seed. But in terms of,
Yeah,
there's not much pressure in terms of winning their division and making the playoffs.
yeah,
But I don't think they care about the 1 seed personally. They walked into Tennessee last year and smacked them in the mouth. They just didn't luck out because Josh Allen was on a different planet last year.
yeah. Okay. All right, so now we'll move on to the Seahawks and Niners officially. As my dog hangs out in the background, she'll be a part of the podcast. The Seahawks beat the Niners 30-23. Russell Wilson continues to own the San Francisco 49ers. I believe he is 17-4 in 21 games against the Niners now. So no matter how bad the Seahawks are, Russ will cook against the San Francisco 49ers. We've been saying it, and we'll say it again. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to keep starting until the Niners were to lose, but since the NFC is so fucked right now with who's making the playoffs, I believe Jimmy G will still continue to start as long as they're in the playoff hunt. He still threw for 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, albeit the 2 picks are probably huge. George Kittle, 9 receptions, 181 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Good Lord. DK Metcalf, 5 catches. I don't know how many catches he had. 5 catches for 60 yards. Tyler Lockett, 7 for 68 and a touchdown. Dwayne Eskridge had a touchdown. Okay. Interesting. The fake punt to Travis Homer, I thought that was an interesting play. Worked out for them. Got a 70-yard touchdown out of it. I still think Russ and Pete Carroll are out of Seattle next year. I don't think there's one of them has to go, if not both. More Pete Carroll than Russ Wilson, but you're the Seattle Seahawks. You've been really good for a while now. Your biggest thing right now is that you didn't run the ball against New England Patriots, and now you're going to finish the season most likely under 500. They'll probably lose at least one more game to finish under 500, and that's just not acceptable. It's just not acceptable for this team. You got nothing for either team?
It's an ugly game. It's just an ugly game. I watched most of this game, surprisingly enough. The Niners, Jimmy doesn't provide much upside. He can win games, yes, but not having Deebo Samuel really hurt. And I expected a bigger day from Ayuk. Obviously, Kittle had the monster day. But if the Niners are just going to come out here and pepper George Kittle with 15 targets and hope to God they can pull out enough points to win, it's not going to work out that well. I don't think the Trey era starts as of yet, but man, Seattle needed this. It's not going to matter in the end, but yeah, I think Russ is gone. Pete should have been fired last year. Nah, that's a bit of a stretch. But Pete's gone. They need to figure out who the hell is going to be a running back for this franchise because Adrian Peterson, he's just there to be scoring touchdowns to try and pad his all-time stats. It's a mess, and it's going to be something that needs to be solved over the next 4 to 5 years. The Niners are better off. They almost won this game missing Fred Warner and Deebo Samuel. So if you're a Niners fan, don't hang your head too low. It was a weird game that had some weird stuff happen. There were some missed calls. It was a very poorly officiated game across the board. There was like a DPI in the end zone on Sherfield or against Sherfield that wasn't called in like the closing minutes of the game. So the Seahawks suck. The Niners aren't as terrible. This game was a coin flip. Congrats to Seattle. You're not going to be moved to Oklahoma City this year. Too soon. My bad. But on to the next one.
Last one for us. Chiefs beat the Broncos 22-9. When Teddy throws 2 picks, you're not going to win a football game because they had a 20-play drive of 11 minutes and it didn't score points. That's all I need to tell you right there. What else do you want me to tell you about the Denver Broncos? I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm salty that they beat the Cowboys. They still have really good pieces on the team. Pat Surtain is a beast. I love Micah Parsons, but I really wanted Surtain at the time. And Surtain's a beast. Javonte Williams is a beast. The Denver defense is still pretty good. They held the Chiefs down to 15 15 points because you have to give a touchdown to Sorensen. So they held Mahomes to 184 yards and a pick. Mahomes rushed for a touchdown on the first drive of the game, but outside of that, Denver defense still played well. Teddy just turned the ball over one too many times.
Yeah.
Do you think Vic Fangio's on the hot seat? He probably is, right?
I don't get how Fanny Pack Fangio still has a job. He should have been fired last year. The guy was trying to throw Drew Lock out there on a weekly basis. The Broncos are a good team on paper. They have really good weapons. They have very good defensive pieces. Javonte Williams is the future. This is just a glimpse of what we're going to get over the next 2 to 3 years. He had like 178 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. The dude is a monster before even first contact. He makes people miss. He breaks tackles. He is almost impossible to bring down. So shout out Javonte Williams. The Broncos just aren't good. They regressed to the mean. They came out really hot. They went 3-0. Everyone's like, oh my God, Vic Fangio. It's like, oh my God, Vic Fangio, because this is who they are. This team is not a Super Bowl contender. They're a borderline playoff hopeful. And Kansas City is officially rolling, and everybody else in the NFL should be on watch. Because, yes, this was an ugly game. Wins were super high. It didn't take 400 yards and 3 scores from Mahomes to win this game. He ran for a touchdown, threw a pick, and didn't even top 200 yards. The KC defense is figuring it out in real time. And if they figure it out enough, they could be the class of the AFC. I'm going to say it right here. Tennessee's banged up. The Bills are having an identity crisis with the lack of running back depth and the lack of just any rushing attack. The Patriots, they are, I guess, America's team moving forward in terms of like the AFC. They're the chipper good boys of this whole conference. The Ravens have their issues. They have no injury luck. And beyond that, am I really pumped to think of the Chargers facing off against the Chiefs in the playoffs? Hell no. And then you've got teams like the Bengals. I think as of right now, with all the games that have been played, barring Monday night, the Chiefs are my favorite in terms of roster construction, health, and hitting their stride at the right time. Because no one's telling me if Derrick Henry's going to be there for the playoffs, let alone A.J. Brown or Julio Jones. Because Ryan Tannehill with Nick Westbrook and whoever the hell else is playing snaps for them against Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, their tandem running back, because CEH is back, Darrell Williams, they're both being used effectively. The Chiefs can beat you in a lot of ways, and it's getting harder to find ways to beat them, with especially how this defense is playing.
Yeah, Kansas City has figured out. We'll see how they look the next couple weeks. I'm not too sure who they play. Let's see. They play the Raiders. They should win that game. The Chargers. They could lose to the Chargers, but it should be a really good game. They could beat the Steelers. They could beat the Bengals, and they'll probably beat the Broncos again. So it looks like a 13-4 finish, maybe 12-5 at worst for the Kansas City Chiefs. Winning the division probably easily at this point, as they've kind of just ran through everybody they've played recently. Their defense has stepped up really well, and when Pat Mahomes has a defense, that's where I get scared. When their defense isn't giving up what Mahomes is giving them, then they're going to win every single week. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, you never want them to find their stride, because once KC finds their stride, you're in a sprint, and it's just I don't know how to put it. It's like asking Usain Bolt if you want to race for pinks. Like it's like, hey, let's run 100 meters straight, and if I lose, you keep my shoes, and I will give you my next pair of shoes. It's like you don't want to bet on yourself in terms of any team in the NFL besides the Bucks, Rams, or Cards right now. I wouldn't want to bet my offense against their offense with any other mitigating factors. They're just too talented and too deep. Not even deep, because they got like Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson dropping passes, but it just doesn't matter right now.
And in terms of Monday Night Football, I don't remember who played last week. The football team beat Seattle. It wasn't that great of a game. We're not even going to worry about it.
It was amazing, Austin. I almost died 4 times. If you guys were on the halftime stream, you would know I was suffering from existential dread.
Patriots and Bills are going to be starting any moment. That's going to be a whale of a game because the wind is blowing like 50 miles an hour. It's snowing. So 10-7 Patriots. I mean, it'll be interesting. Game's going to be wild. All right. So, in terms of week 14 predictions, wow. Okay. Week 14 predictions. We're going to go
Let's
through a
go.
little
Let's
quick
go.
because Devin's having technical difficulties. So,
Yeah, I'm struggling out here.
we'll get through these super quick. I will emphasize this Thursday game. Thursday, December 9th, I will be turning 28 years old. So happy birthday to me, Justin Jefferson,
Woo!
200 yards, smoking the Steelers. Shout out to all my December 9th babies right there with you. Justin Jefferson, toast the Steelers, give me the Vikings.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep it plain and simple. Big Ben ain't so big no more, and Najee Harris is gonna have to run for like 300 yards for this to even make sense. Give me the Vikings. They're better as a team. They have a better quarterback, and I think their weapons are comparable. Yeah, just Alexander Madison's younger than Najee Harris. Yeah, yeah, blows my mind too. He's 23 and like some odd days. Najee Harris is older than Alexander Madison. Give me the Vikings. It's a simple equation. Then we run into the Saints versus the Jets. As I said before, Austin, the Jets are not good. They are not absolutely terrible, but they are not good. I'm picking the Saints. I think Taysom Hill, if he plays, has one of those stupid days where he drops 30 fantasy points because he felt like it. Zach Wilson, this is a veteran defensive unit. I think it's baited into some bad throws, and the Saints do enough to pull it out.
I almost thought about picking the Jets, but I realized if Taysom Hill is going to play, the running factor is enough for me. If Trevor Siemian was playing, I would feel a little bit inclined to pick the Jets.
Kamara should be back.
That too. So, yeah, give me the Saints as well. Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara back should be enough for them to beat the Jets. But I would not be surprised if the Jets were to win. The Saints are slippery slope is what they call it. I learned that in college. I have a degree. Fuck. Falcons and Panthers.
Go Birds.
Picking the Panthers.
Hey, dude, Joe Brady got fired. Who's going to be calling plays? I don't know. Is Cam Newton calling? You're calling the plays.
Yeah, so it's going to be
Falcons
halfback dives to Christian McCaffrey. This is how we win football games.
He's on the IR. He's not playing. Yeah, I'm saying give me the Falcons. The Panthers suck. The Falcons are terrible as well. But Arthur Smith, for some reason, has them playing 500 football. And I can't tell you if PJ Walker's going to throw for 5 passes. I can't tell you if Sam Darnold's alive. I can't tell you if Cam Newton's going to even take the field. This Panthers team is just – they're like – I refuse to believe they're even real at this point. I think I made up the Panthers in my head. They exist to piss me off. So me picking the Falcons, they're probably going to win and Pat Austin's lead because, if I pick Carolina, they're just like, nah, dude, sorry. Cam Stone.
Sorry about it.
But yeah, give me the Falcons.
Do you think Matt Rule's on the hot seat?
He's only had McCaffrey for like 12 quarters or something. It's an insane stat of how healthy McCaffrey's been under Matt Rule. I think he gets one more year, regardless of McCaffrey's health. But if it's bad like this next year, there's no way you keep him around because they are in line for a full-scale rebuild within the next 2 years because McCaffrey's getting paid a lot of money, and they got to decide on DJ Moore. They just got Robbie Anderson, and they have nothing to show at quarterback. So unless they can get a rookie guy in there that they can kind of milk in terms of output per dollar, it's going to have to come down. They're not the Saints. They don't have this masterful front office where they're going to be able to just manipulate the cap year in and year out. So yeah, give me one more year of Matt Rule, but I don't expect them to stay on if they're not going to win games.
Seahawks, Texans.
Give me the Birds, dude. This week of the TMSM podcast is brought to you by Aviation and flight-based birds. Because you know what, man? I'm picking the Birds this week. Give me the Seahawks. Aviation, like flying, like you know what? Yeah,
Go
give me
bird
the
watching,
Seahawks.
kids.
Give me the Seahawks. The Texans are terrible. They're eliminated from the playoffs, and it'd be ironic for the Seahawks to be eliminated by the Texans. But it's Russell Wilson, it's DK Metcalf, it's the ghost of Adrian Peterson and Tyler Lockett against a bunch of guys that I can't even name on the Texans. David Johnson is MIA. Philip Lindsay got cut. Rex Burkhead is averaging 8 carries a game. The Texans aren't trying to win. I'm just going to say it out loud. They are not good. Davis Mills and Tyrod Taylor combined for a little over 90 yards last game. I'm not picking them. There's no way. There's no way in Sam Hell I can do it. So, yeah, give me the Seahawks.
To give the short answer to save Devin's data, I will also pick the Seahawks. Hey, can you not go in the trash during the podcast? Thanks, dude.
the the good boy of
She
today's
heard me say
episode.
Texans, and she was like,
Good girl. I think
like,
I found him.
I think
Bill?
I found him. Okay, Raiders, Chiefs.
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 They just destroyed the Broncos in front of all of America. I expect them to do no less against this Raiders team.
Ravens, Browns.
Give me the Ravens. The Browns are coming off the bye week, but John Harbaugh can't drop 2 in the division back to back. It's just, that would be catastrophic for their hopes.
Browns played really good against the Ravens on Sunday night. But give me the Ravens. They need to bounce back.
Was Lamar
they
Jackson
should
poop before the game? Last game he had to poop, and I think they lost. They ended up winning, didn't they? Applebee's in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville.
We got a game ahead of this one. I'm picking the Ravens, but I'm just doing some
podcast research.
Doing some recon.
Cowboys football team.
Give me the Cowboys. I am ignorant and sometimes stupid to football, but how about them Cowboys? I'm just saying it. Like, Washington's good. They're on a streak, but Dallas is playing for something bigger than just the division this year. They can't afford to drop games, especially with how contested the NFC has been at the top.
Yeah, give me the number one offense against one of the worst passing defenses in the league. I'm not going to sit here and say Washington hasn't faced good passers. They played really well over the past couple of weeks. I will give them their credit where it is due. But the Cowboys have to get right, and they are playing a lot of divisional games over the next couple of weeks. We literally have 5 games left, I believe, right? We're 8-12, or 8-12, 8-4. Yeah, 5 games left, 4 of them are divisional. We have to win them all. Maybe we don't have to win them all, but we got to start the first one by winning it. Titans, Jags.
This is where the joke pays off. There is an Applebee's Bar and Grill on 718 Thompson Lane, Nashville, Tennessee. I gotta take the Titans. Urban Meyer's kryptonite is bar and grills. So until I find a NFL city that does not have a Chili's, a Carrabba's, an Applebee's, none of these locations have sponsored us.
Outback.
Insert any family-oriented bar and grill. If they're there, Urban is not on the top of his game. So give me the Titans, point blank.
Chargers, Giants.
Okay, I'm offended.
Do you guys think you could beat Jake Fromm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course. If we can't, I may have problems.
I think all 7 Charger fans would have problems.
Yeah, it's just wild. The Chargers need to win this game. This is one of those games that if we lose, we're not making the playoffs. I'll just say it out loud. This is a win.
Daniel Jones is out. Mike Glennon's probably out. They're throwing out Jake Fromm. There's no reason the Giants should win this football game. I don't care how bad the run defense is. Saquon Barkley is still beat up. Their O-line is not great. There should be no reason why the Chargers lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos, Lions.
Broncos.
Okay.
Shout out Dan Campbell. I hate to say it, but it's just Vic Fangio isn't the worst head coach in the world. And if DeAndre Swift plays, my answer may change. If Melvin Gordon plays, answer also may change. Javonte Williams is going to feast against the Lions defense. I would love to see DeAndre Swift carry his team to a win. The Broncos defense is better than what they went up against with Minnesota. I think the Broncos, they still are in a fight for a playoff spot. It would be really sad to watch them roll over to a team as bad as the Lions. Give me the Broncos.
Give me the Broncos as well. We'll keep it short for Devin. All right, last 4. We'll rapid fire them. Bengals, Niners.
Give me the Bengals.
Okay.
They have a higher upside offense, and the Niners defense is banged up, and I don't think Deebo Samuel or Fred Warner played this week. Joe Burrow's going to be pissed off because, everyone's saying, oh, Herbert's better, which he is. But, they just lost a game that they arguably could have won because the Chargers let them back into it. But the Bengals need a win, and the Niners, they could probably lose this game and still stay in the hunt in the NFC. The AFC is more contested and congested than the NFC is.
Yeah, give me the Bengals too. There's the better offense. If Seattle's doing that to the Niners, I feel like the Bengals can do just as well. Bills Bucks. Give me the Bills. It is a close decision for me, but I think Josh Allen will tear up that secondary just enough to beat Tom Brady. It'll probably be a shootout. But I mean, it'll probably be another game where Josh Allen leads the team in rushing.
Give me the Bucks. This is a team that is excellent at moving the ball downfield. Tom Brady's arguably the MVP this year. He probably wins it when it's all said and done, if nothing else changes this year. Tom Brady's playing out of his mind, and Tre'Davious White is out for the year. They lost their best coverage dude, and whenever you can't, it's hard to replace a guy with the value of Tre'Davious White. So I just think the Bills have a lot of questions to answer this week, but next week is truly the biggest test. I think they can survive without Tre'Davious White against the Pats because they're more of a ground and pound, kind of space the game out kind of scheme. Like they'll dink and dunk you, or they'll hit you for a big chunk play to Kendrick Bourne. But it's not the same as Gronk, Evans, Godwin. So the Bills got to prove it to me, and I just don't think it's going to happen come Monday night. Or not. That's a Monday night game, right? Or Sunday night?
No, it's a Sunday.
A Sunday afternoon. Yeah. There's too much going on for the Bills right now that I think the Bucks can do it.
Packers, Bears.
Okay. After the last Packers-Bears game, I checked the Wikipedia for the Chicago Bears, and Aaron Rodgers was updated as a partial owner. So unless they were selling off team ownership like stocks, as Green Bay does yearly, give me the Packers.
Fun fact: if you did buy a stock in the Packers this year, then you technically partially own the Packers. In addition, you also own the Bears. There you go. If you technically partially own Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears. So correlation just moves down the chain. So congratulations, you own 2 football teams.
Yeah, that's true.
They're probably going to get flexed out of Sunday night. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But if the Packers want to embarrass the Bears on Sunday Night Football, go for it.
Yeah.
Monday night's a banger. Back-to-back bangers. Rams, Cardinals. Give me the Rams. It's so close. Either team can easily win this game, but the Rams have to win this game. The Cardinals can't afford to lose this game. They'll still be the number 1 seed, even if they lose. If they win, they probably lock that number 1 seed pretty close too. But give me the Rams by maybe 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, I think the Rams have more to gain and the Cardinals have less to lose in this matchup. Obviously, they're very tight in the division. They're both locked for the playoffs. It's just going to be for the 1 seed who's going to get it. And they're playing in Arizona. Kyler's second game back. This Rams defense has been playing pretty well as of late. And they're hopefully going to be at full strength. Darrell Henderson should be back. Odell Beckham Jr. 1 more week in that offense. Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp. And I don't know. I just think the first matchup was a little weird. And then I just think the Rams have to win this game. This is a game that if the Rams want to win the Super Bowl this year, they have to beat the Cardinals. Because if you go into the playoffs and you go 0-2 against them, mentally that's really tough to overcome, especially if they were to meet a third time in the playoffs. So give me the Rams.
All righty. That'll do it for the show. So we'll get Devin out of here so he can not blow through all his data.
I've only used a gig so far. I thought it would be worse. So not
so
too
as
bad.
Always,
well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. As always, thank you for watching. If you were hanging out with us live, if you're watching on demand, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. It costs you nothing. It helps us get closer to our goal. What's our goal? No idea, but it ain't 2. If you want to download the Halftime Poops app, you can hang out with us there every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We hang out there and talk about Monday Night Football. Once football ends, we'll be talking a lot of basketball. That's where kind of the app originated, is with, basketball. Community's great. If you don't follow us on Twitter, follow us at TMSM Podcast, the same on Instagram. We'll work on a Facebook and a Twitch pretty soon so we can be all over the place. Fantasy playoffs are coming up, so good luck if you have a win it in after this week. Hope matchups fall your way. Hope your players ball out as long as it's not against me. Devin?
100%. Yeah. Shout out to everybody for listening. It's always a pleasure getting to talk our talk and have you guys listen. It's a little unconventional today. I'm trying to get this whole internet situation worked out. Hopefully, it won't be as spotty moving forward. But pleasure as always, Austin, and everybody just stay healthy and stay safe throughout this holiday season. Because next time I'll see you guys, Austin's going to be 1 year older. I'm going to feel stupid young. I'm going to be like, damn, when's the arthritis kick in? Right, Austin?
Oh, my arthritis has already kicked in.
Oh, no.
It ain't far for you, buddy. Let me tell you.
We're just all marching to that same drum, the inevitable, and you love to hear it. But for sake of not going over 1.5 gigs on my first day of the plan resetting, I'm going to give you guys the word you've been waiting for. Peace.